Hello, hello. Welcome to my channel. This is Cusp of Beauty Tarot, and I'm here to do a pick a pile reading for you. Haven't done one a little bit, probably a month ago, and I'm happy to do that now. Thought it would be an easier way for you to access some messages rather than waiting for your sign or your cusp sign. I'd love for you to kind of meditate, excuse me, on a pile. Pardon me. That resonates with you. And oh my gosh, here we go. So basically, the first pile to your left is the traditional Rider-Waite Centennial deck. The middle pile is the Wild Unknown, and the right pile, the third pile, is the um, Tarot de Cristal, an Italian deck. So, think about which one. And I'm actually doing a different reading this time where I'm going to pull a card. These are all pre-shuffled. I'm going to pull a card for your love situation, your career, finances, and your well-being. I think we could all use a broader view right now, and I've had, requests for doing more than love and, just changing it up a little bit. And then I have a couple other just messages for you for each pile. So hopefully you've picked your pile, and you could certainly have paused to do that. And let's begin with pile one. Put these other piles aside. Pardon me. I apologize for that. So, yeah, let's see. So general messages are over here. So your first indicator here is in the love category. If you picked pile one, so this would say to me that many of you are, you're focused on yourself right now. You've got some ideas. You're thinking about what makes you happy. You're carving out your own journey. You're clear on what's going to meet your needs emotionally. And, I don't see this as being selfish or egotistical. Usually that's, when you're starting to read reversals and things like that. I think this is a healthy understanding of what will make you happy. The Nine of Cups generally is wish fulfillment, and that's also a good sign. So not only are pile one folks more aware, many of you, of what's going to make you happy, but there's, kind of a good omen here that in doing so and having proper intentions, you're going to be on a good path. Going to be on a good path. This bodes really, really well for those of you who chose this pile. Okay. So next up, this one is for your career. Wow, pile one, you've got the magician for your career. So the magician, as we know it, is a manifester of grand proportions, has everything they need to realize, their goals and their aims. So how amazing is that? That would say to me that, in your area of career, you could be entrepreneurial, you could be thinking of new creative ideas, you could be innovating something right now. And, in order to do that, you have the people, tools, tribe, resources, emotions, passion, maybe even financial means, because you have the coin as well to get it done. And, the infinity symbol to me says there's kind of a karmic and universal impact for you here, and that the universe has your back. So whatever you're trying to manifest in the area of new career starts, new business starts, and I know we're in challenging times, and this is not to be Pollyanna. We're all being hard hit by the energies right now, and in our reality, in our day-to-day life, and in our, in just every way we're trying to sustain ourselves. But for the moment, just kind of focusing on the fact that you have what you need. And how do you do that? How do you make that happen? So this is a very bright inclination for me right now. Pile one. Now, interestingly enough, under finances, we have the Lovers. Wow. You've got a very yellow reading right now to me. Very bright reading so far. So in your area of finances, pile one, folks, you have probably an important partnership that's impacting for many of you, that's impacting your finances right now. There could be a decision that you need to make in the area of a love/business partnership. Maybe it has to do with finances in terms of your spouse or your love situation. Um, but an important partnership. Lovers could certainly be a partnership in the area of business and career. So, are you waiting to hear from a partner on a deal? Are you deciding to trust in something that you know is fundamentally, um, you know, I just kind of feel like, that at the soul level, there's something that you trust in that will assist your financial situation right now. So again, this bodes very well. And if you look at the angel hovering over the lovers here, this again, with the magician here in your career sector and the lovers here in your finance sector, you've got, the angel overlooking things. So to me, this would say again, the universe has your back. So that's pretty incredible. In the area of your well-being, this could be just like self-care, health, and well-being. Wow, we have a 10 of Pentacles. This is abundance. This is family love, tribe, intergenerational connection. So this would say to me that for many of you, if you're not experiencing the well-being and care that you want, the connection is here for you in your extended family and in your tribe. That there is abundance here for many of you already exists as you are connecting, and maybe it's the times that we're in right now with the virus and what we're all trying to do, but you're experiencing your well-being through caring for others, being cared for, and maybe shifting the tone in your family and community environment. So this would say if you're not already feeling abundant and to some degree secure in this area, it either is coming or you're working on it, and that you have at your disposal maybe even more um, sustenance and more positivity than you may even know in your community. And I guess I would say by that is if it's not even a face-to-face community right now, how can we continue to have you reach out for help for your well-being? How can you be of help to others through all the other means? We can still do that even though we might not be right up against each other. There's creative ways that we can reach out in our neighborhoods, communities, and even access help to those who really need it the most. So, my goodness, this is incredibly uplifting reading, to me. Let's see. Additional guidance for pile one is the 10 of Cups, 10 of Water. So that is the whole emotional picture as well. Family, love, envisioning the best for yourself and for your family. If you're not making that intention, hold that intention. But for many of you that are reading this reading, pile one, again, you've got 10 of Pentacles, but you've also got 10 of Cups. So incredible message for you here is that you have the ability to tap into, this positive emotional well. The truth be told, Oracle for you in pile one would say to me to be sure that that you're being scrutinizing, even though there's so much going positively here for you, that you're still being very scrutinizing of things. If anything smacks of, if you have your spider sense up about anything, that you might be asking yourself the question, what is the truth of the matter? What else do I need to know? Do I have the full picture? So the other side of this to me is that honesty is the best policy. I think that it's kind of interesting that we can put on masks and things in normal life, but it'll be an interesting evolution for us to see how much more real are we going to be getting with the most day-to-day or important people in our lives. And we're going to have to kind of check it because we have anxiety running through our day-to-day, but how can we use honesty as a positive tool, either to be clear about what we're saying or to be clear about what we want to communicate? Does it really help us to hold back at a time like this when, maybe we have the opportunity to bond closer through honesty, where in the past so many people are just conflict avoidant. The last word message I have for you, and this sounds very apropos for this reading, pile one, is happiness. How can you tap into your joy? Small ways, baby steps. Even if there's a lot of anxiety coursing in your system or in your environment, how do you tap into your joy even in the most small ways? Whether it's through creating something, whether it's through important partnership or in your environment or your tribe, or just reminding yourself, like with the Nine of Cups, what are, I mean, seriously, this reading is so consistent. How do you remind yourself of what really does make you happy? And what are your wishes that you want fulfilled? Journal, write, get in touch. And then obviously your intention ripples out and opportunities avail themselves to you. So, not to be Pollyanna, I'm not suggesting that at all. But this is a good, this energy and the growth energy is obviously more expansive than having us, sit in fear. And if you're somebody who's sitting in fear right now, I 100% understand and respect that. Do the reaching out and get yourself support and even just acknowledge that, because it's good to acknowledge where we're at. We can't gloss over or stuff it down. That only hurt, stands to hurt us. So this is your reading, pile one. So I hope that was helpful in some way. And I'm going to gather this up and we're going to do our pile two. Pile two is the Wild Unknown Tarot. And let's see what we've got. Other messages. Your first is for love. And we have the Four of Cups for love. Okay. So the Four of Cups to me for love would be to say that some of you in, kind of following along this reading are experiencing a situation where you're either rejecting an offer or an offer of yours has been rejected recently. Maybe you're thinking that something that was afforded to you or offered to you just wasn't good enough. Maybe many of you are just, really leveling up in your mind that, you have evolved to a point of spiritual growth for many of you where some of the same old is just not going to do it. And people coming back into your life or in your life that are not measuring up, maybe don't get to play with you right now in the love situation. Maybe they don't. And as I mentioned in pile one, I'm doing 4 cards. First one is love, second is career, third is finances, and fourth is well-being. So the first one, this being relationships and love, you are either rejecting that not good enough offer and holding your standards, or someone may have recently done that to you. When we step back philosophically, we do try to understand that, rejection in either way can be a blessing, and we often can dodge a bullet when it's not the right thing for us, and that the more we force certain things to happen, the more challenge we can tend to bring into life. So there's definitely a positive spin to holding your standards high, or somebody's maybe passing over something that has been offered by you in the past. Stepping back to philosophically look at, if that wasn't the right timing or the right person or the right moment, that whole, one door closes and another will open theory. That's easier said than done. But that's the message that I'm getting, that if you close the door and keep your standards high, pile two folks, that you're going to attract at a higher level. So in the area of your career, you have the Six of Cups. So for many of you, to me, Six of Cups really has to do with connecting to pure joy, reminiscing of the past, tapping into a past positive, accessing past relationships. So for some of you at this time, to be specific, and this could be a subset of you, you may be receiving an offer from an old employer who wants to talk to you again. You might be thinking of going back to a different channel of income that you've been in before, or tapping into something that brought you joy or that you know brings you joy, because we're all trying to be creative right now, and we all have to think of different avenues to make our career work and be innovative. So for you in reading this pile too, it may be very important to you to think about lessons from your past careers. When I work with people on careers, and I do, um, we don't just do same old and just review resumes. We look at your life story, we look at your career history, and we try to tap into areas of passion and brilliance and areas of really unique satisfaction that you can, reignite. So, to me, for many of you, this could be a reignition of something, or re-identification of something in your past that can spur future career opportunities. So be thinking about that, maybe exploring that. In the area of finances, we have the Five of Discs. So, there could be a tie here that in order to get over some short-term or interim or recent financial loss, that you may need to be creative and tap into some past successes and kind of reinvent yourself a little bit. This could mean that, for some of you, you might have had a rejection in a particular, pursuit, financially. Maybe it's a couple of jobs you applied to, or maybe it's funding you're waiting for, or maybe it's an opportunity for learning or a grant or something that's put you kind of in a stalled out position financially. This isn't destitution. This isn't the end all be all, but it could mean a setback. So, definitely I think it calls for creativity and thinking about what are your alternate streams of income. If you're somebody who relied on face-to-face work and you're actually in an isolated situation, can you go online or look at online ways to make money? Can you reach out and tap into your family and friends and just kind of, talk, communicate, find out what other people are doing? Okay, so definitely for some of you, this might mean a bump in the road financially. Doesn't mean that it needs to be an indefinite bump in the road. We're going to have some more clarifications here. So how about your well-being? We've got the card of the wild unknown, Two of Wands. So there's a choice that needs to be made for your well-being. There's definitely a choice that needs to be made. Deciding between two things, two paths, two modes, two modalities. For some of you who are dealing with a certain health issue or wanting to just maintain good health, to me, this would say that you're choosing between two things. Maybe you're choosing between two treatments, two modes. Maybe you've got limited time, but you're choosing between, what do I even do with my time? I mean, it's so fascinating how some of us have some more time than we used to have, but it feels so overwhelming when we have to make choices, even with less structure and more time, right? So, I mean, I'm sitting here myself thinking, oh my God, do I try some at-home yoga? Do I, what exercise thing can I try to tap into on my TV or on my phone? And I'm getting a little overwhelmed at the decision process with that. So many of you might be in a similar situation. How do you treat an illness or just do self-care and wellness when you have decisions to make? I mean, this isn't Seven of Cups with tons of decisions to make and confusion, but you may be deciding between two very viable options. So research and, when you get to a decision, it'll feel better, is what I'm feeling, because staying in the middle is always challenging. So I wish you well with that. Another message for pile 2 is the Nine of Swords. Okay, so I understand that this particular pile is a little more in their head. This is Nine of Swords, you're processing things in your head, maybe ruminating for some of you, going over and over again. Maybe this has to do with a love relationship that didn't pan out, or maybe some setback to do with the financial situation, or just kind of figuring out how am I going to make this happen for me and for my family. And so maybe, for some of you, you're definitely stuck in your head right now. I would say reach out to friends and family, email, text, FaceTime if you have technology at your fingertips, but get in your body because we get in our heads and we become walking heads. It's so easy to do. But if you're not the big exerciser, even if you can just like walk around your yard or walk around a park, or still, if you're social distancing, you can still social distance and get outside, get the air, get into your body, feel your feet on the ground. Such basic things. Feel your feet on the ground, do some kind of conscious walking, because generally we walk with our heads first, and we get so inside our brains and so inside our thoughts that anything we can do, feel your feet on the ground, notice colors around you, notice your senses, tune in with your senses when you're even in your home, when you're outside. When we tap into our senses, we can get out of our heads. When we can tap into breath, we can steady ourselves out of anxieties by a little bit. We could do a whole video on breath, but I just want to acknowledge that is existing for a lot of you in this pile right now. The opportunity is regeneration. So in this particular message, what of the old has to be let go, or to be let to die off? What habits, what people, what patterns are not serving you? That has to die off. It has to. Like, we have so much more limited, space and time when we go through phases like this. We have to shed the old and regenerate into new. This speaks also to your career, right? So, tapping into your roots, tapping into past things that worked for you, which means there's going to be other things that die off. So there may be a way to recreate, rethink, regenerate, review, and stoke some newness, okay? So what has to happen there for you to let certain old patterns and beliefs that just don't work for you to die off? What has to happen is some awakening. The old will not work. It's going to be, I think, for many people, a harsh awakening at first. And for certainly people who chose this pile, you might be resonating with this. I don't know. For those of you, it's not going to resonate with everybody. But whatever challenges you're facing financially, or perhaps from a career perspective, or in this short term, with the anxiety, or just, this too shall pass. What we can hope for is an awakening that comes out of this, and an understanding of, what does need to die away when your resources get limited. What is worth spending any money on, any resources on? If your emotional reserves get limited, who deserves your time? Who deserves your connection? Pile 2. Okay. So I think it'll be a personal awakening, certainly for many people. So wishing you well with that. Let's move on to pile 3, folks. Okay, pile 3. Pile 3, extra cards. Pile 3. Okay, first up in your love situation, the Tarot de Cristal, 7 of Pentacles. So for many of you, 7 of Pentacles is reviewing something very carefully. Being patient. Patience is important here with a certain love relationship or romantic relationship, but you're reviewing it really carefully. And as I just said in pile number 2, you're evaluating where you put your energy, time, emotional resources, maybe even financial resources. If you have a partner who you've been giving to, you're really kind of maybe pausing and assessing, what do I even do here anymore? Is it worth me re-upping, reinvesting? Or if somebody's, if you're kind of moving slowly in a scenario, the need to be patient. It's a card of patience and a certain amount of tolerance. But at the same time, I tend to lean on this being more scrutiny and a selectivity. 6 of Discs comes before this, which is a generous card, weighing in, give and take. So I would say weigh in your give and take. Who has the ability to meet you halfway from a relationship standpoint? Pile 3, folks. So just look at that carefully, okay? Before you reinvest or keep investing in a relationship. From a career standpoint, we have the Knave of Chalices. So in this deck, that is the Page of Cups. So that's actually excellent. From a career perspective, you might be receiving an offer. Somebody might be giving you a job offer that you've been applying to, don't even know is coming. Um, you might be receiving, news, certainly on the career front. Beginning steps, beginning steps to a new opportunity, something that might meet some of your emotional needs. So this is actually like, to me, a really great sign that, some kind of fulfilling or potentially fulfilling opportunity might be coming your way from a career perspective. We're going to get some other clarifiers here, but, as much as it's a cup, it's also in a garden, a very abundant garden. So I would say that this is boding good luck to me of it being an abundant opportunity, not just emotionally fulfilling, but abundant in terms of could yield you, some good returns from a career perspective, both from a growth, learning, and potentially a financial perspective. So that's potentially very good news. So, specifically in your finances, we have the Four of Wands. It's going to be very important to you right now to look at your stability. If you're entertaining a new offer, or if you're thinking about where you're applying or what you're doing in your career and in your financial situation currently, are you monitoring your finances well? Many of you are highly focused on stability. You're not being frivolous right now. This would also say to me that you have a stable environment, many of you, and blessings to you and yours if you do, and or are working toward that. So stability is going to be an ever-pressing factor for those of you who are looking at this. Um, also traditionally, the Four of Wands is something that connotes community support, family, and even a couple. So you might have a spousal situation that is affecting your stability. I think in this respect, for the positive, a partner who's contributing to you financially, or if they're not fully contributing the way they can, it's high on your mind to work out financial stability from somebody else who maybe contributes to your financial stability. Because even though in this deck there's not um, two people, it is traditionally the Four of Wands does have two people in it. So it's not just a stability card. Okay. So the last one on your well-being, we have strength. So the strength card has to do with, in this case to me, that you are working on your strength, stability, how you firm up your well-being, contribute to your strength in terms of, um, it could be as simple and as direct as vitamins, supplements, good measures in terms of your well-being habits. What do you do that builds up your health and well-being right now, especially if you're experiencing stress, due to what many of us are experiencing stress around on the unknown, the uncertainty, the fear associated with what's going on in the pandemic of life right now. It's all very real, and yet we have to find ways to address our well-being. So finding out what works for you and practicing it regularly, creating healthy habits. For many of you, I think this connotes that you're actually being very strong, that you have some confidence in this area. So I'd love to know in the comments, which end of the spectrum you're finding yourself on with strength when it comes to your well-being. Are you seeking greater strength and access to resources and kind of settling into something that's not clear yet? Or are you feeling like I kind of got this one? Let's see. So other message, the Ace of Swords. So for many of you, this will mean, you've got a new conviction, a new truth, a new victory, a new awareness about something. This is like sparking something mentally, verbally, in the written word. A new beginning intellectually. So if you look at your stability factor from a financial perspective, how can you deal with a new idea or maybe newfound clarity around something that can help, bring this page of cups career opportunity or this financial stability goal to your reality, because you're also tapping into a really cool intellectual awareness, and just this spark of new energy to pursue a great new idea. For some of you, there could be a truth that's come to light, or you need truth around something that will help your current situation. So I'd love to hear about how you're identifying with the Ace of Swords. And the yin message right now. So very interesting. You have an Ace of Swords, which to me is very yang and very masculine and very action oriented, right? And then you have the balance of the yin. So the yin and the yang. I mean, the yin is very the feminine, the more internal, inside, nurturing. I guess if I had to say, receiving versus acting upon. So to me, this is just like a huge message of balancing giving and receiving, acting and quiet, speaking and listening. You've got both like very, very prominent in your reading pile 3. So to me, that's like there's going to be times and benefits for you to take fierce action, to be strong, and to act on a new insight or get clarity on something. I think this to me is maybe in the way you do it is to be true to your feminine nature, whether you're male or feminine, which is not a gender comment. It's how do we express ourselves in a way that's just a little bit softer, especially if tensions are running high. How can we express ourselves in a more understanding, caring, compassionate way when we're trying to get our goals done? Thinking about that. And the last clarifier, it's just completely in line with that, is grace. So completely clear, male or female, we can be confident, strong, stable, pursue new opportunities with grace. And boy, is this ever needed right now. So, you know, who do you let in this 7 of Pentacles that adds to your balanced, strong, and graceful approach to life right now? And how can you extend this out to the people that are already in your world or the ones you want in your world? How can you pursue opportunities with confidence and grace? And by the way, you can be completely fierce and courageous and fired up and still have grace. Grace also for many people might mean faith. And faith in, whoever or whatever you gain wisdom from, whether that's, a religious or spiritual thing, or whether that's your inner wisdom. The act of grace is somehow a knowing and tapping into a knowing. So that's another heavy message for you right now to kind of figure out how you do that, pile 3 folks, and do it. So I hope this resonated for some of you. I'd love to know how you like this layup. Certainly it's a bit shorter, but at the same time, hopefully there's some clear messages. And let me know, and we'll be back soon. Please take good care. Bye-bye.